Feel the power of you controlling your breathing. In through your nose and out through your mouth. You've got your legs crossed, your back straight, your eyes closed. You remember the truth. You know the truth that you were born to win, to take control of your life the way you take control of your breathing. One breath at a time, one thought at a time. So let's do that right now. Let's see ourselves doing the best we can as we begin our day today in the best way possible. Winning the morning, winning our mind, and growing our minds and our bodies. And whatever we do. So right now, let's see ourselves doing the best walk we've ever done when that music shuts off. Right here, right where we are, right where we sit. Because we know the truth. After all, we're made of truth. We're made of the same stuff the universe is made of. That's what makes you infinitely intelligent. See yourself right now doing the best walk you've ever done when that music shuts off. When that music goes off, you're going to win. You're going to make it real. You're going to make your dream, your vision, real.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't on Gangnam Style.
Pelota a la izquierda para Campo, se vino Campo, va hacia adentro, Campo lo dejó tirado, Campo insiste, se vendió, se ve el primero, o Campo, mano otra vez, su golazo, Campo, qué pedazo de gol, mamita mía, golazo de Nacional.
Morning, guys. One of the greatest things I've learned in my life, and I want to share this with you in case you are going through a very difficult time right now. Our difficulties, our struggles, our pains, our challenges, all that darkness, that is where we find out what we're made of, why we were born. See, we were born in darkness. We were born in the womb. We came out of nowhere, and we are miracles, but we have to remember that. And the reason why we are miracles and we are meant to live with purpose is because we have that energy, that determination that will not stop. If we make that decision to take whatever is happening to us and change the way we think and what we do about it. So whatever you're going through right now, if you're going through a really tough time, a dark time, a challenging time, I want you to remember your determination, it's meant to come out of your darkness. Have a great day, everyone.
Okay, let's go. Growth Day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Congratulations, you're working on your personal growth and wellness today. I welcome you to today's session on advanced wellness strategies for home and work. What an unbelievable topic, right? The timing is perfect because some of you, like me, you may have spent yourself and your year in a little bit of, in a little bit of a quarantine in a new place, and you're trying to do your job, manage the stress, the obligations that you have with the kids or the family or the business. Try to find that sense of happiness and joy and creativity in life. But it's also a really difficult time sometimes to do all of that when the world is in total chaos and turmoil, when multi-billion-dollar companies are trying to steal your attention and compare you to other people. And so today's topic, I think you're going to find not only timely, but something that will help holistically address so many of the challenges we all face in living a vibrant, a connected, and a meaningful life. If you're new to Growth Day, you might not know that I always kind of talk about this triangle, and this triangle that what we're all really after, after we have some security or a roof over our head or some food in the pantry is, we all want a sense of aliveness. We want that joy, that enthusiasm, that sense, that joie de vivre. We all want connection, and that connection is your relationships and how you feel connected to other people, connected to your family, connected to even yourself. We want meaningful pursuits, the ability to do things that matter to us, that draw our interest or our passion or our obsession or enthusiasm. And right in the middle of that old triangle, growth, which is what we are here to do today. This topic, man, I'm so happy to see so many of you here right now. This is awesome. I'm just so excited to see you guys here because this topic, a lot of people get wrong. I'm going to start with a simple statement. I'll tell you what we're going to do here today, especially for those who are new. I'm going to start with a very simple statement. I know when I talk about wellness, often people separate wellness in this little category. Oh, that means health, or that's nutrition, or that's meditation. And they kind of feel like, oh, I'll get there. One day I'll be healthy. And I'm always telling people, wellness is not separate from your work day. Wellness is not separate from your life. Wellness is not something you do once in a while or you have once in a while. Wellness is your experience of life. Wellness is your experience of life in this moment. It was your experience of life this morning. it's your experience of life the last week or last 2 weeks. It's not this little thing over there that once in a while you have your kale shake, or you have, your keto diet, or you get to that gym, once, 3-4 times a week. Those are practices. And I'm going to share with you tons of practices today that I know you will love. But wellness is our experience of life. And when we can look at it that way, things start to really shift in, once in a while I do wellness versus how am I being, feeling, and experiencing life. That's how I think of like my wellness practices, or when I teach wellness to corporations, or I teach it to you guys in our high performance work. It's always more of a holistic approach, because I really believe we want to feel. We want to feel the day. If something is off in your life, it's because you don't feel like you're feeling the day with the emotions and the energy that you want behind it. So today, I've got all my cards to share with you today, some advanced practices that have really served me, but also the mindset of wellness, the experience of wellness. What does that look like? And I know, listen, as soon as you start talking about wellness, people often say, well, is this about losing weight? Or is he going to tell me I'm too fat? Is he going to tell me I need to get off the couch or stop eating, the Cheetos? I promise this is not a preaching session. This is a session hopefully meeting you where you're at. And I've always had to do that in my private coaching with our clients. I have to do that with you guys as our students. I have to do that with myself. There's different times in your life where wellness feels different and looks different. Sometimes when you're youthful and young and you just felt awesome all the time, it didn't matter if you pound down like 7 tacos and 4 beers in one night. Okay, well, maybe it did, but you could get away with that the next 2 days because your classes didn't start till 11 a.m. Or, you had times in your life where you could get away with bad energy. You had times in your life where the energy was more abundant because that age or that health state that you were in at that time. But you and I both know there's sometimes it ain't so good. It's like you're trying everything and you feel like crap and you don't know why. You're doing what they say. You got your yoga mat. You're following this wellness person. You're doing your Headspace or your Calm or your tapping solution app. You're doing all the things, but you still feel like crap and you don't know why. That is the challenge of the wellness journey. I certainly know that. Many of you guys have been with me for a long time. I've been blessed to teach personal development now, essentially for 25 years, only full-time for the last, 17 years. And, full-time the last 15 years. And in that journey, I've had to be on stage teaching to hundreds or thousands of people who paid a lot of money to be there, and I would feel like crap backstage. I was tired, I was fatigued, I didn't feel my body right. I was stressed from business. I was stressed from family and the finances and all the obligations that fell on my shoulders. There's been times just like you when you're in that roaring stage of your career where things are going great, but you don't feel great. There's also been times, many of you guys were with me in 2011 when I had my brain injury. And that took me on a whole new wellness journey. Because at that point, I was a high performance guy. I had really gotten my mind, my body, and my spirit, my work and family. I'd gotten kind of like in alignment, if you will. I was in the zone for a series of years. I was feeling good. And then on a trip with some friends, I wrecked an ATV, a 4-wheeler. And I rolled several times and I snapped my wrist off, broke my ribs, threw out my hip, my shoulder, and ended up with a traumatic brain injury. And that opened a whole new world of learning for me to understand my brain and to heal my physical body. I know many of you have been through those situations, and many of you right now, you're dealing with sickness in your life or your family. You're dealing with, an optimized, a non-optimized body, and you just feel awful. Or you recently got hurt or sick, and listen, recovering from that, that's real. And so we'll talk about some of those recovery routines. We'll talk about some of those new ways to think about your mind, your body, your brain, your spirit. today's a good discussion. It's a really good discussion. We're going to start with the most simple thing I want you to write in your journal and fill out, which is this. Wellness to me is ... What does wellness mean to you? You know, whenever I teach a topic, I always encourage the audience, like, define it for yourself. Because if you don't define it for yourself, how are you ever going to align with it, achieve it, manifest it? You know, some people say, I want to be successful, Brendan. I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, I don't know. Money? You know, it's like, what does it mean to be successful or confident? You have to define those things. What does happiness mean to you? We'll talk about that today. But wellness, what does it mean to you? I really want you to think about it. What does wellness mean to you? When you have full or holistic wellness, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Maybe what you can do in your journal right now is just wellness to me is, and then just write down some words that come up to you. Wellness to me is what? Just write down one word. Wellness to me is health, fitness, resilience, peace, purpose, happiness, aliveness. What is it for you? Just take a moment right now. I'm going to walk you through my personal definition of this and then share some ideas that maybe you can put into play in your home, in your work life. So wellness to me is, here are my keywords and my practices. Number one, wellness to me is happiness. If I don't feel happy on a consistent basis, I know I'm not on my A game in terms of my wellness practices. To me, they go hand in hand. Wellness and happiness. They're not separate, they're not different, they are the same thing in many ways. If I'm not happy, I know my wellness practices are off. So let's talk about some of these ideas for happiness. Okay, for me, the first thing of my wellness practice and what makes me a happy dude. Like if you met me, you'd be like, God, that guy is annoyingly happy a lot. If you've been to my seminars before and you see me go for 4 days, 9 hours a day often on stage by myself, people are like, how does he have that much energy? It's because I have the ultimate secret to happiness. And we have the ultimate secret to happiness. I'm telling you, you feel well. So what is my ultimate secret to happiness? The first thing is having reverence for life.
Gangnam Style. 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자, 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자, 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자, 그런 반전 있는 여자. 너는 선호해, 낮에는 너만큼 따사로운 그런 선호해, 커피 식기도 전에 원샷 때리는 선호해, 밤이 오면 심장이 터져버리는 선호해, 그런 선호해. 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 지금부터 갈 때까지 가볼까. 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 Lady 오빤 강남스타일 Lady 성숙해 보이지만 놀 땐 노는 여자, 이때다 싶으면 묶었던 머리 푸는 여자, 가렸지만 웬만한 노출보다 야한 여자, 그런 감각적인 매력적인 여자 나는 선어해 점잖아 보이지만 놀 땐 노는 선어해 내가 되면 완전 미쳐버리는 선어해 근육보다 사상이 울퉁불퉁한 선어해 그런 선어해 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 hey. 그래 바로 너 hey. 지금부터 갈 때까지 가볼까 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일 Lady 오빤 강남스타일 Lady 뛰는 놈 그 위에 나는 놈 Baby baby 나는 뭘 좀 아는 놈 뛰는 놈 그 위에 나는 놈 Baby baby 나는 뭘 좀 아는 놈 You know what I'm saying 오빤 강남스타일 Lady 오빤 강남스타일 오빤 강남스타일
Che sì, la porta avanti che sì, il tiro di che sì, e il gol di K che sì, double K, il chiavistello, double K, andiamo K Frank.
Morning, guys. Today in our top 10 rules for success, Les Brown shares with us his 7th rule, and that is do more than what you're paid for. So Les Brown shares with us a story of his life and a former job he had, a former boss he was working for, and how he had let this person, these outside conditions, consume him and anger him and make him feel frustrated. Until one day Les Brown thought, you know what? I got to make this happen. I got to take what's happening to me and change my life. And so he started working harder. He started getting up earlier. He started working later. Again, doing the things that he knew would help make him self-determining. He knew he wanted to take that pain, that anger, that outside condition, that person caused him, and flip it and make it work for his life. You have that power too. Whatever it is, whatever you think is causing you pain outside of you, within you, you can take it, make a decision, and do great things with it. Have a great day, everyone.
So first, let's start with a high five. Like, think about when in your life you have either given or received high fives. What does a high five from someone else or a high five that you're giving to somebody else communicate?
You're on the same team. You're like
You give it to somebody when their attitude's going down. Come on, keep going, pick your attitude up. You give it to somebody in celebration. And so a high five communicates support and empowerment and partnership. It's so powerful, and we're so good at giving all of those things to other people. And everybody, especially women, we cheer for our friends, we create birthday parties. We're so good at cheering for our favorite musicians and buying people's stuff. We are horrendous at giving that same support and celebration to ourselves. In fact, we not only don't give ourselves support and celebration, we do the opposite. We tear ourselves down and we beat ourselves up and we pick ourselves apart. And every single woman I know is constantly saying, how the do I put myself first? You put yourself first by doing for yourself what you've been doing for everybody else, because that's how everybody else became first in your life.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because when I started my first business, I really struggled to believe in myself. I was making $300 a month and quit on my business partner. And the thing that saved me was watching the stories of successful entrepreneurs. They gave me strategies as well as hope and belief that just maybe I could do it myself as well. And I hope that this video here today helps you get a little bit more belief in yourself, because I still need the videos for myself today too. So today, let's learn the unwritten life rules that everyone should know. Enjoy.
You need to start to cheer for, support, and validate yourself, period. I realize now that I'm high-fiving myself that I have spent the first 40 years of my life either criticizing my reflection or ignoring it. How sad is that?
It's incredibly heartbreaking and yet extremely familiar to me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of women.
Yeah. And believe it or not, a lot of men. There's a lot of men that don't want to look themselves in the eye in a mirror and be with themselves because they're so focused on the things that they haven't achieved or the things that they failed at. And so they're ignoring themselves. They're not being with themselves. And so first things first, when you take a moment in the morning to just stand in front of the mirror and be with yourself, and then you raise your hand in a gesture that you have always associated with celebration, support, belief, and empowerment with other people, there's a number of things that happen that can be proven by research. First things first, this is research out of Harvard. It's recent. They've shown in studies that simply taking a minute in the morning to get intentional about who you're going to be today and how you're going to show up changes your productivity, it changes your level of confidence, it changes how impactful you are as a leader at work and in life. So this moment in the mirror is not to be diminished. This is a moment for you to be able to take a moment and intentionally align yourself with who you're going to be. Second piece of research is from a field of study called neurobics. It basically means when you marry a physical action with something, a thought that's unexpected, you accelerate the development of new neural pathways. And there's famous studies that have proven that if you brush with like your non-dominant hand while you're thinking something, it sticks in your mind because you have to focus. Well, the same is true when you raise your hand and high-five your own reflection. You see, you've been doing this for your entire lifetime, so there's already subconscious programming here, Lisa. The second that you raise your hand like this, it is so programmed in your mind to associate belief, cheering, empowerment, celebration, with the high five itself, that it's impossible to go, God, I hate my neck. Boy, is that cellulite ugly. You can't do it because this part of the mind immediately takes over and does all the positive stuff with a high five. It's crazy. Try it tomorrow morning. You will not be able to criticize yourself. Now there's another piece of research around this, which is, when you do a high five, we did one, the first one we did, right? We didn't quite hit each other in the right, good smack. So what did we do?
We did it.
Correct. Because a good high five requires you to be present and intentional. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
All of that in a little high five. And so what I started to notice was that I was in real time shifting my relationship to myself. Instead of criticizing the woman I saw in the mirror or ignoring her, I was developing a partnership, a trust, a sense of self-validation. I have my own back. I see you, Mel Robbins. We're going to have a great day today. We got this. No matter what it is that life is going to throw at us, you got this. That's how it all started. And then, of course, I put it on my story after a couple weeks of doing it, and people around the world started to post pictures of themselves doing it, and then all of their stories started rolling in about the difference that it was making. There was one woman that said that she's been struggling with body dysmorphia for 20 years, cannot look in the mirror. And after 5 days of doing this, can stare at herself in the eyes with a grin.
5 days.
5 days. And the reason why is because of the lifetime association that you have with doing this for other people. So when you try this tomorrow, here's what I want you to do. Stand in front of your bathroom mirror and take a moment and just be with yourself for a second. And then if there's resistance to raising your hand and high-fiving your own reflection, what is that resistance? And here's some of the sad things that people are saying that I think ring true for all of us. I think most women can relate to this. I think guys tend to have a reaction that's more in the, I must be weak if I need this. When the fact is, if you've played team sports, you know damn well that there's nothing more motivating and there's no inspirational force that's more empowering than being cheered for by your teammates. That belief that they have in you transfers to a belief that you have in you. And so we know instinctively how powerful this is, and yet we have been trained to deny it to ourselves. That somehow if you have to empower yourself, you're weak. Bullshit. If you empower yourself, you're strong, you're smart. And so with women, and with men too, but I've found this to be the case with a lot of women, and this is super sad, that there is this belief that if I've done nothing that's worth celebrating, I don't deserve celebration. That I don't deserve celebration until I lose the weight and get to that number on the scale.
Yeah.
I don't deserve celebration until I get that job, until I'm dating somebody, until I buy that house, until I get through. And that's the opposite of what you actually need. You need celebration and support so that you can do those things that you deserve and you want in your life. And so here you are withholding the very thing that you need, support, celebration, love. You're waiting for somebody else to come waltzing in and give it to you, which they're not going to. And the secret to life is learning how to give yourself the support, the celebration, the validation that you as a human being need. So that's one thing that women feel. The second thing is this idea that if you are somebody that celebrates herself, you're a bitch, right? That there's something wrong with you if you call attention to you. And that may be because your mom, kind of didn't call attention to herself and was uncomfortable being the center of attention. Maybe you got the messaging that you needed to be seen and not heard. Maybe it got reinforced in your family that you're supposed to be the good one or the quiet one or the, nice one or the conscientious student or the this or the that there was a role for you to play. And that if you stand there and validate yourself, that somehow it means that you're not all those things that other people need from you. It's complete and utter bullshit. And let me tell you why. When you were born, celebration, validation, all of that stuff was hardwired in you.
Now watch me whip, kill it. Now watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Why me do it? Now watch me whip, kill it. Watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Can you do it? Now watch me. Ooh, watch me. Ooh, watch me. Ooh, watch me. Ooh, okay. Okay. Ooh, watch me. Ooh, watch me. You do it. Watch me. You do it. Okay. Ooh, great. Stanky leg. Do the stanky leg. Stank. 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 Do the stanky leg. Now break your legs. Break them. Break your legs. Break them. Tell them break your legs. Break them. Break your legs. Break them. Don't and break your legs. Break them. Break your legs. Break them. Don't and break your legs. Break them. Break your legs. Break them. Now I me bop, 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 bop. Now I me bop, 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 bop. Now watch me whip, hey. Now watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Why me do it? Now watch me whip, kill it. Watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip, whip, watch me that. Can you do it? Now watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, okay, ooh, okay, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, okay, ooh. Now I mean you, now I mean Superman, 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 now I mean you. Party rock.
Holland on that left foot. Two. What about that? Oh, stupendous strike. That nearly took the net off.
Guys, I want to share with you a personal experience that will highlight the power of determination, which I fully realized in this moment of my life. I'm going to take you back to when my first daughter was born, and at that moment where she was arriving into this world, and I don't want to paint all the graphic details, but my wife demonstrated just how powerful we are when we make a decision, when we find that motivation. And I think this is perfect for living our way to infinite mind wealth. Remembering that in a moment we can show that determination. So when they threatened my wife with a C-section because it was a challenging delivery, I will never forget the one last roar and push that came out to bring our beautiful daughter into this world. And I thought, that spirit, that decision in that moment, what if we could channel that every single day in every decision we make? It's possible. Have a great day, everyone.
I like to dialogue with my mind. Now, that sounds quite funny to say that you have a dialogue and a conversation with your mind. But anybody that does deep work with their mind, whether through meditation, whether through mind power, is that you find is that your mind is talking to you all the time. It's telling you things. It's commenting. It's too cold today. Or I don't like the people that I'm with. Or I wish I had more money. Or isn't this a delicious meal? So your mind is constantly commenting and has a narrative and is thinking all the time. And it's very valuable to, first of all, know that and observe it. Because one of the very first teachings that I give is that you are not your mind. And to realize that you're not your mind, that your mind is a part of you and a very important part of you, a very valuable part of you, but it's only a part of you. You are much beyond simply your mind. And your mind talks to you all the time. You get to talk to your mind as well.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because when I started my first business, I really struggled to believe in myself. I was making $300 a month and quit on my business partner. And the thing that saved me was watching the stories of successful entrepreneurs. They gave me strategies as well as hope and belief that just maybe I could do it myself as well. And I hope that this video here today helps you get a little bit more belief in yourself, because I still need the videos for myself today too. So today, let's learn from one of the best, John Kehoe, and my take on his top 10 was a success. Enjoy.
Sometimes at night, and this is quite often when I do it, I'm lying in bed and I'm thinking thoughts, and I'll just stop and I'll ask my mind, I'll say, what do you want to think about right now? And the mind just kind of goes, oh, it feels seen, it feels noticed, it feels actually a little bit vulnerable. It's like, what do you mean, what do I want to think about? Well, what would you like to think about? And the mind might say, I want to think about how upset I am about some, and it names some person, an incident that happened maybe a few days ago or a week ago. I want to think about how terrible this person is. And you go, okay, you have that option, but can I give another suggestion to you? Why don't you have compassion for this person? Why don't we, you and your mind, why don't we have compassion? Would you be willing to have compassion for this person? The mind says, no, I don't want to have compassion. And I want to feel really angry. And you can say to the mind, okay, then you can be angry, but you know what? How's that going to make us feel? Why don't you be angry let's be angry for a couple minutes. And your mind gets really angry for a couple minutes. And then you go, now how does that make us feel? The mind says, I'm angry, I'm upset. Well, do we like this feeling? No, we don't like this feeling. Let's try compassion for this person. Let's realize that maybe this person is wounded internally. Maybe they're going through a lot of problems and difficulties. And let's try compassion. Let's do that for the next 2 minutes. And the mind says, okay, let's have compassion for that person. And you have compassion for that person for 2 minutes. And then you say to the mind, how does that feel? And the mind goes, that feels much better. All right, then here's what we're going to do is I will let you think what you want to think sometimes, and you let me think what we want to think. And I have different things. For example, it's been a long day today. I think that I would like to feel gratitude right now. Can we feel gratitude together? Do we have anything to be thankful for in our life? The mind will say, well, let me think. And it will come up for reasons on why to be thankful. And you move into gratitude. And so that's exactly how you work with the mind at different times when it could be maybe you know when you're doing your meditation or throughout the day to take out. I mean, we take coffee breaks. Why not take a mind break? Why not take a break through your day, several times through your day, where the mind will think what you want it to think? And you can work with love. You can work with inner peace. You can work with gratitude. You can work with success. You can work with faith. I mean, there's so many ways that you can work with the mind and get it to meditate and contemplate. Or you can work with worry. You can work with fear. You can work with anger. You can work with resentment. All these are possibilities. And the mind has a whole range of things that it can think about. So the first thing is to be aware that your mind is thinking all the time. And secondly, your mind is not you. You're separate from your mind. Your mind is only a part of you. You have the ability and actually the responsibility to dialogue with the mind and to guide the mind and to train the mind and instruct the mind. And what I found with the mind is the mind loves to be trained. The mind doesn't like to be out of control. The mind doesn't like to be fear and worry. It falls into that trap. And it falls into that trap because it doesn't have you guiding it. But when you can enter into dialogue and guide your mind will become your best friend, your absolute best friend, your biggest supporter, and you'll be quite a team together.
Rule number 2 is practice happiness.
In life,
And once again, legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed, focused on our breathing. Back to our breathing. That powerful force keeping us alive, keeping our energy flowing. And we don't really think about it. We never really attempt to control our breathing, most of us anyway. But we were born to do that too. To remember that in any moment, we can take charge of it, the way we take charge of our breathing. Same way we take charge of our mind, our thoughts. So reflect back on today. How did you do? Are you satisfied with your work ethic? Are you satisfied with your determination? Did you use it in its fullness, its beauty? Our determination is invisible. We cannot put our finger on it. We cannot see it, but it is there. We have the power to determine what we will think and what we will do. Today, we've won the morning. We've won our minds, and therefore we can win our day and our life. One breath at a time, one thought at a time.